All right, good afternoon, old school Texas Tech. I have an appropriate t-shirt on, but I do need a little help. I haven't been able to find my razor in quite some time. It's been about a week and a half, something like that. So I don't know. I can't find it. Might have to go down to the pharmacy and pick up a razor. What do you think?
Hey man, get let me put one on one of those fancy drones and have it delivered out to you. Little shaving cream.
They have drones that'll come all the way down here.
Maybe.
Probably do.
Wouldn't shock me.
Probably probably
Glad one
do.
of us is wearing the appropriate attire because these are not exactly Red Raider colors.
Yeah, well, this is a even in Ecuador, I'm like walking around. They're like, "Really? You're wearing a Texas Tech shirt right now?" I mean, it's kind of rough. You got to be a diehard like us to actually have guts enough. There's another word for it, but have guts enough to walk around with a Tech shirt on right now. It's kind of rough. It's a
Yeah,
little rough.
it's yeah, you're right. We will be all right. We started 0-2 last year, right?
We did.
A lot of winning
Um,
record. We started winning record. So
Actually, did we start 0-3? No, we
we
went
we
started
were
off
like
3-1.
we were 0-2. We had what the Wyoming and Oregon games were 0-2, and then you know,
We won one, and
we went 7-4 the rest of the way after that disastrous start, right? So
yeah, we won one in week three, and then we lost to West Virginia. Was that how it went?
I'd have
We
to
beat who?
look again.
Yeah,
I think we were 1-3.
yeah. I think that's right. So anyway, hopefully that's not going to happen. So I've got the numbers for the first couple weeks. So you went 11-4 last week. I went 12-3. The reason why there were only 15
Rigged.
games The only reason why there were only 15 games is because of the weird deal with Utah and Baylor playing each other as non-conference opponents. So you are 26-5 on the year. I am 28-3 out of 31. So I've got pulling up in the process of pulling up our Big 12 games
Rigged,
this
I
week.
tell you.
Yeah, if you think so.
No, I really don't. I just think you're picking better than me.
We'll see how long that lasts. You know a lot about college football.
No, not as
All
much as
right.
you do, apparently.
Okay, so the first game is actually interesting because I don't know that much about Texas State, but Arizona State's played pretty well so far. But the Arizona State goes to San Marcos to play Texas State, and that's actually tonight.
I saw that. I think Arizona State's gonna beat them. Texas State's new in the D1, whatever they call it these days. I know they beat Baylor last year, but Baylor was not exactly great. But
Okay.
Texas State's got some teeth, man. I saw they're undefeated right now. I know I say undefeated, it's only 2-0, but still, I think Arizona State will handle business there.
Okay. Then tomorrow there are two games. Both of them are interesting in my opinion. UNLV goes to Kansas is playing their games at Arrowhead Stadium this year, right? Their home games. I think they are because they're remodeling the stadium. So I think that game's in Kansas City, but UNLV at Kansas.
Didn't I pick against UNLV last time and I lost?
You picked no, you picked Houston over UNLV, and I picked UN. Yeah.
Picked against them. You know what, dude? I'm going to stick with Kansas on this one, even though they didn't get it done last week, and I picked them. I'm going to say go Jayhawks.
Okay. Okay. The next one, it's a Big 12 game. It's a real conference game, not like the conference game that wasn't actually a conference game last week. And it's two good teams, or two teams that have been playing well so far. It's Arizona at the Little Apple at Manhattan at
Ooh,
Kansas State.
ooh, okay. This is a good one. You know what? I'm just gonna say home team. If this was in Arizona, I'd probably pick Arizona. I'm gonna say Kansas State just because they're at home, and I think the
Okay.
whole kind of playing better on the lines of scrimmage beats the finesse offense. So I think I'm just going to say Kansas State nudges them out. I've not seen the line on that one, but I think I'll say Kansas State by field goal, right?
Kansas State's favored by a touchdown, actually. Both teams did not
Really?
play well. Neither team played very well last week. Kansas State struggled with Tulane on the road, and Arizona struggled with, I believe it was Northern Arizona. but they won by like 12. I didn't watch the game, but I mean, neither team blew out their opponent like they were supposed to.
There was a lot of weird stuff last week, dude.
Yeah,
Week two saw a lot of teams that had high expectations that
yeah,
just completely wet the bed. Sorry,
yeah.
no other way to put it.
All right. So you've
That third,
got so far you've got Arizona State, Kansas, and Kansas State.
yes,
All right. All right. So we're gonna go into Saturday games now. We've got, if I'm reading this right, Oklahoma State actually goes and plays at Tulsa.
I don't know anything about Tulsa, but Oklahoma State showed some grit, man. They were down big versus Arkansas. Looks like they were going to get the doors blown off. I wonder if there's going to be a hangover from that big comeback. But I don't know anything about Tulsa. I will say I think Oklahoma State wins that 9 times out of 10, and I'll take Oklahoma State again.
Okay. So this one we're going to talk about more in detail on another video. So we're just doing win and loss here, so we don't have to get too detailed. But North Texas at Texas Tech in Lubbock. It's an early game. What do you think?
I think Tech is going to roll in that one. I do.
Okay. All right, we'll talk more about that one in a bit. Cincinnati against Miami of Ohio. Yep, Cincinnati at Miami of Ohio.
I feel like such a Big 12 homer. I feel like I'm picking every Big 12 school in every one of these games. I really do. So let's change it up a little bit. I'm going to say Miami of Ohio gets it done.
Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. They're pretty good. I remember doing a little bit of research on them in the
They
offseason.
are. They have that
Yeah,
Chuck Martin is actually a pretty good coach too. So I think
yeah,
Cincinnati blew a lead. Did Cincinnati blow a lead last weekend? I think they did, didn't they?
yeah. That was a great game against Pittsburgh. I was hoping Cincinnati would have won, but yeah, that was one of the better games of the week for sure. All right, then we have, I think they call it the backyard brawl, West Virginia at Pittsburgh.
And we had Pittsburgh on every week. Pittsburgh, what is this? Are they in the Big 12 and I didn't realize it?
It may be a sign of things to come
I,
if the ACC comes apart, you know.
because
Uh,
I literally think this is the third week in a row that Pittsburgh has been an opponent of a Big 12 team. I'd have to look, but I think they are. Pittsburgh, West Virginia, is that what you said?
yeah, yeah. It's West Virginia at Pittsburgh, so it's the game's in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh just came back and had that win against Cincinnati too.
Right.
So I'm going to go West Virginia on this one.
Okay. All right. Utah at Utah State.
Utah State just got annihilated by USC 48-0.
They
Um,
just had a yeah, they just had a weird situation in the offseason where their coach left like mid offseason. He got in trouble or something. So
There's
they've
some weird
definitely got
stuff going on there, man. I don't
yeah.
know, but I Utah is going to roll most everybody on their schedule, and I think Saturday is no different.
All right. Then we've got a game in Fort Worth. Two teams that are undefeated so far. UCF at TCU.
Oh, now that's an interesting one. I'm going to go. You know what? I have not looked at the spread on this one, but I think I'm going to go with UCF.
It's a 1.5. UCF's a 1.5 point favorite.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. All
TCU
right.
doesn't have the teeth. I don't know, man. I don't see it.
Okay. Colorado at Colorado State rivalry game. Colorado's favored by 7.
Yeah, I mean Colorado. They always seem to play each other pretty close. But I think Colorado just they're coming off that big loss to Nebraska. Colorado State got absolutely annihilated by Texas in week one. I think
Yeah.
Colorado will beat them. It'll probably be closer than they want it to be, but I think Colorado will win that one.
Okay. And then we've got Air Force at Baylor.
Air Force Baylor. Remind me, does Air Force still run that triple option?
Yeah, and they had to replace their entire offensive line in the offseason.
Ooh, I know what that's like. That's brutal.
Yes.
Well, knowing that, see, one of us has done more research than the other one. I'm going to take Baylor in that one. That new offensive line, good luck.
Okay. Okay. Then we've got a battle in H Town between Rice at Houston. think about Houston. They get beat by UNLV and then give OU a run for their money. You know, interesting.
Some of the OU fans I know here, and there's a lot in Dallas, but they were concerned. They seem to have a really good defense and no offense to speak of. So that's what happens when you hire a defensive head coach, I guess. I'll go with Houston in this one. I don't think Rice has got a whole lot going for them right now.
Okay, and then BYU at Wyoming.
I've learned not to pick against BYU because I think I have twice already this year, and I think I've missed on both. I won't make that mistake this time. So I will take
Yeah.
BYU to knock Wyoming out.
All right, we're not gonna have it's like kind of like the Jeopardy game when the guy's ahead and he doesn't wager too much money. I'm actually not doing this on purpose because we actually see eye to eye on most of the games this week, except for one that I can think of. All right, so I I um I am tempted to pick Texas State, but I'm just not. I just think Arizona State will be a little bit too good. And they're this coach that's in his second year. I think he was a coordinator, I think at Oregon, before he came to Arizona State. And like I said, I think that is an I think that is a program now that they're in as stable of a conference as you can be without being in the SEC or the Big Ten. I think now that they've kind of stabilized, they've got a young coach that seems like he's doing a good job. That is a really cool college atmosphere, and I can see that they're. I think he's done some good things in recruiting. So I'm going to go Arizona State beating Texas State and San Marcos tonight. Then UNLV and Kansas. I do think UNLV is a good football team, but I think Kansas is going to win. They're going to be really upset about the loss last week. They're well coached. Usually, well coached teams come back after a difficult loss like that and get it done. So I'm going to take Kansas. Arizona, Kansas State. I really believe that Kansas State may even be better than Utah. I think Kansas State might be the class of the Big 12 this year. They're really good. They once again hit. They've hit two out of the last three coaches that they've hired. Obviously one had two stints, but they've just got a really good thing going up there, and I have a lot of respect for them. So I think Kansas State's going to win that one. Like you, I'm going to take Oklahoma State over Tulsa. We'll talk more about it. I think Tech will bounce back and beat North Texas on Saturday. I am going to take this is the one where I'm going to split with you. I am actually going to take Cincinnati to beat Miami of Ohio. That is a road game. So I think that is truly a toss-up game, but Cincinnati's they've got some pride. I know I followed some of the guys that were doing predictions and stuff for them over the offseason. They definitely are like us. They're disappointed in their start. And I know that they really want to make a bowl game this year. And if they have any chance at all to make a bowl game, they have got to beat Miami of Ohio. So I'm going to go Cincinnati. West Virginia and Pittsburgh is one of those games that's always impossible to pick. Like Iowa State and Iowa is just really tough, no matter if the team's good or not. But I think I actually think both these teams are pretty good. West Virginia's only loss was to Penn State, who's one of the better teams in the country. I'm also going to take West Virginia. Utah is gonna destroy Utah State. If that were to be a loss, that would be one of the bigger upsets of the year because Utah State's got they have some major dysfunctional stuff going on in their program, and that I've been reading about that for several months now. I think UCF will beat TCU. If I were in Vegas and I were a betting man, I would actually take. I even think they'll far surpass the points. I think UCF will take care of TCU in Fort Worth. I don't think TCU is as good as everybody thinks, but they've scored a lot of points and they've looked good so far. Colorado State, another one, hard one to predict, but they're going to be a little bit like us. It's kind of put up or shut up time. So I think Colorado's going to get it done. I like Colorado State, and I like that coach. I hope they can turn their season around, but I do not think it will be this weekend. Baylor, I don't think they're a very good team, but I just think Air Force having to replace your entire offensive line when you run that kind of offense is really tough. I think Houston will get the win against Rice, which will be their first win of the season. I did think Wyoming might be decent this year, but they've really struggled. and BYU's looked good. BYU's not going to care about the altitude in Wyoming, and so I like BYU winning that game. So we were only different on one game. You picked Miami, Ohio. I picked Cincinnati.
Good deal. Yep. We'll see who
All
wins.
right. Yeah, we'll keep track of it, and we'll be back next week with another round of predictions for the Big 12 games.
Perfect.